Active service members, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stories of Service, an evening with veterans. It is a distinct honor to introduce our host for the evening. He was a warrior in Iraq, smart, fast, decisive, and then badly wounded. You have seen him put it all back together on Dancing with the Stars. Please welcome Noah Galloway.
Please be seated. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and it's funny, before the night started, we had a rehearsal and everything, and I met a couple of important people that were putting this together, and they thanked me for being here, for taking the time out, and the thanks were appreciative, but it's more than that for me, because as a combat veteran, as an injured combat veteran, I know the importance of the Fisher House. Because what a lot of people don't realize is when a soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine is injured, it's not just them that suffers, it's also their family. And the Fisher House is what allows our families to be there to help us through that recovery. When I was injured, I had incredible doctors and nurses. Trust me, the medical staff has a warm place in my heart. But I needed my family there to help me put the pieces back together and move on. And that's what the Fisher House is about. Now, I understand that Ann Arbor is a bit of a competitive town, especially when it comes to Ohio. Well, I'm going to point something out to you. I have to. Ohio has 4 Fisher Houses. 2 on the way. With 650,000 veterans here in the state of Michigan, I think it's time that we have one here. Tonight we come together as a community to hear the stories of our veterans and to think about how we can take care of the men and women who take care of us. Our first speaker, our first storyteller, Gus. After flying a second B-17 bomber mission on D-Day, August Gus Bellino flew 28 missions during World War II, earning the Distinguished Flying Cross after the lead bomber was shot out of formation and Gus assumed navigation to the target. At age 95, he is finishing his 16th book. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome World War II veteran Gus Bellino.
Coming in on a wing and a prayer. Coming in on a wing and a prayer. Though there's one motor gone.
Thank you very much for that applause. I don't know why you're applauding. I am happy to be back in Ann Arbor for 2 reasons. My son lives here, and I got an MBA degree here in 1949. Now, two weeks ago, I had a birthday. It was my 95th. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm hoping to come back here next year to talk about 2 other missions that I can't talk about tonight. Tonight, I'm going to talk about D-Day. Now, the 2 that I want to talk to you about are commonly called D-Day. No one knows what the letter stood for. It was never named. I think it meant destroy, because that's what we were trying to do. We're trying to destroy the Germans. But no, as I said, it was never named, so it's still called D-Day. Now, on June 4th, we did our usual thing. We got up at 5:30 or 6, went to breakfast, and then went to the briefing room. And we would sit there and listen to what the major would say about our current mission. That was June 4th. But it was pouring rain. I've never seen so much rain in my lifetime. It was coming down in absolute buckets. And so we sat there for 8 hours, and then we went back and we canceled the mission on that day. The next day, June 5th, we went back to the same room, and we sat there, you won't believe this, until 10:30 p.m. that night on June 5th. And guess who comes on? Mr. Eisenhower. And he says to us, "My fellow Americans, you are about to embark on a great crusade. If you know Ike, you know that he became president of Columbia University when he left the Army. And guess what he did there? He wrote a book called The Great Crusade. So if you want to know Ike's version of D-Day, you get that book. They're still for sale in eBay." So, okay. So on August 6th, which was the official D-Day, we left at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we headed for Normandy. And we were told we were going to be bombing Utah Beach, which had a gigantic 16-inch gun in it. There were 3 landing areas and 3 16-inch guns. We flew, as all groups did, in 3 squadrons. We had the lead squadron. They were all triangles, 12 planes in a triangle. Lead, high squadron, low squadron. So we had 36 planes, and we got over that Point du Hoc, it was called, and we dropped all our bombs there. They seemed to do nothing. We went back to base, and we hadn't slept much at all. As we used to call it, we hit the sack. We slept. We slept starting at noon, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a sergeant comes in. There's a wall over there, and he flicks the light on, and he said one word: mission. Well, I can't tell you the words we called him, because we hadn't slept at all, really. And he said, "Oh, no," he said, "you have to listen to me," because he said, here's what he said to us: "The mission is in jeopardy," which he meant we were losing the damn war. They were coming down, the Germans were sending reinforcements, and we were not in any positive place. So we went back to briefing. This was around 12 o'clock noon. No, excuse me, 4 o'clock. We slept at noon, from noon to 4. 4 o'clock, we went back to briefing. And the major started to tell us about 2 kinds of missions. He said ordinarily you would fly a strategic mission. And he explained what that meant. And it's kind of odd what I tell you now, because I didn't even know this until he told me. When the Germans invaded Poland, the British declared war on Germany. And what did they do? That same day, they sent 300 spies to Germany. These spies spoke perfect English. And it was their duty to watch where the Germans were moving guns, because we believed, and we were right, that they were going to be moving the guns so that we might fly over one of them instead of around one. So every day I got a different kind of map, and I counted the number of guns in Germany, and it was something between 46 and 50 all the time. And these were the best anti-aircraft gunners in the world. There's no question, because they were 25,000 feet below us. They could aim a shell up, and it would bend a little bit, and it would hit the bomb bay doors of a plane, and the plane would blow up and disappear. 10 people in a plane just disappear. And that's what we had to put up with. We had to evade those guns below us. That's why it was so critical that we know each day where the guns are. And those spies, at midnight of each day, they wired back to London where the guns were. And I would get a new map from yesterday, and I'd compare them, and sure enough, the guns were moved. They scattered the guns up all over Germany so that we wouldn't know where they were. But we had our spies who were darn good. So he said, the major said to us after he explained the difference between strategic and tactical, he said, you're about to go on a tactical mission. He said, that means you can go at any altitude in any direction. But he said, you must find something to hit that is coming down to kill Americans. So we took off, and we decided, the pilot and I, that we'd go up the French coast, try to find something to bomb. And we went back to Pointe du Hoc and turned left. And then, as we did, up in the sky, which was way up, about 25 miles away, there were two black lines parallel like this. And I said to myself, what in the world are those? I found something. There were some horizontal things running across the black lines. What were they? Railroad tracks. So I called the pilot. I said, Dan, we're heading towards a railroad depot. We should bomb that. He said, okay. I said, stay on that course. He said, okay, depot. And the white line in back touched the front line, and when it did, the bomb bay doors opened automatically, and down fall 6,000 pounds of bombs. We completely obliterated that railroad depot. And something else I didn't pay much attention to, but there was a train beside it, right over here. And I counted 9 railroad cars, packed with German soldiers. And believe it or not, I couldn't believe it, they were waving at us. They were doing this. So I thought, are these guys insane? You know, I couldn't figure it out. So I couldn't wave back because I had a plexiglass all around me. I might have waved back if I could have, but anyway, by the time we dropped all those bombs, they were dead. It was the first time in all the missions we flew that we saw the people we killed.